Okay. Here we go. Now, here's my disclaimer. We are talking about Portland, Oregon, not Portland Street in Minneapolis. There was confusion upon hearing this story that a shooting occurred in Portland. And I just want to clear that up from the very beginning. We are talking about the situation in Portland, Oregon, which happened about 24 hours ago. If you are watching this posted video, if you could do me a big favor, make sure to please like the video, subscribe, notifications, turn them on. We're going to be going live a lot more often, and I don't want you guys to miss a thing. Now, as I make this video, it is being reported that there's going to be probably some protests tonight, maybe. So I'm just here to kind of go over the recap of what the reactions were surrounding this story, what Homeland Security had to say, and then we're going to see what the mayor of Portland had to say, the governor of Oregon, chief of police, and some others. Hey, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Michelle. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. And let's start with the Homeland Security statement. Yesterday, 2 suspected Tren de Aragua gang associates let loose on American streets by Joe Biden weaponized their vehicle against Border Patrol in Portland. The agent took immediate action to defend himself and others shooting them. The driver of the vehicle, Luis David Nico Moncada, is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela and suspected Tren de Aragua gang member. He illegally entered in the U.S. in 2022 and was released into the country by the Biden admin. Since then, he was arrested for DUI and unauthorized use of a vehicle. He has a final order of removal. And again, for those of you joining, this is straight from Homeland Security themselves. And make sure to please like the stream so the other T-SPLY subscribers can see what's going on. I think we were one of the first people on YouTube channels to actually cover this immediately, so now we're sort of getting a recap of what's happening here. The passenger, Yorlenis Contreras, is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela and is associated with Tren de Aragua. She illegally entered the U.S. in 2023 near El Paso, Texas, and released into this country by the Biden admin. Since illegally entering, Contreras played an active role in a Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and was involved with a prior shooting in Portland. So that is straight from Homeland. Again, we will be going over the reactions from local leaders and state leaders. Now, while we're here, I want you guys to see this right off the bat. So this is where this story differs a lot from Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Attorney General straight up said, "We are opening a formal investigation into the shooting involved federal agents in Portland today." If you guys are unaware, this is very different, considering over in Minnesota, Minneapolis, they are not involved. The FBI said no. Our office will take every step necessary to ensure the rights and security of Oregonians are protected. So right off the bat, I just want to show you guys, looks like Oregon will be involved with this investigation, so I will be seeing how that might differ from, maybe their findings are different from the federal government. I will be paying attention to that. And if you want to pay attention to that too, make sure to please subscribe. Now, I did have a video, I guess not, of Trisha McLaughlin, but let's just jump straight into the press conference. I think the majority of you already know what happened. And I think this is what many people want to see. The reaction before we even got really all the facts. This is what the state leaders have to say. So let's dig into it.
Update. A 911 call. Officers confirmed that federal agents had been involved in a shooting. Portland police were not involved in that incident. About 6 minutes later, at 2:24 p.m., officers received information once again through dispatch that a man who had been shot was calling and requesting help in the area of Northeast 146th and East Burnside. Our officers responded. We found a male and a female with apparent gunshot wounds. Officers applied a tourniquet and summoned emergency medical personnel. The patients were transported to local hospital, and their conditions at this time are unknown. Officers had determined that the two people who were injured in the shooting involving the federal agents from the earlier call. PPB officers secured both scenes, and this is a federal investigation. It's being led by the FBI. We have been in touch with them. We are, in regular contact. This is their responsibility, but when we have these type of events happen in the city, Portland Police Bureau does offer level of assistance.
So I just want to point out, it does go to show, even in sanctuary cities or states, jurisdictions, it has to escalate to a certain point where the police literally have to get involved, or they can get involved. And thank you for the $5 donation, Michael. I think that's £6. Hi, T-SPLY. Did you see the released body cam footage of the ICE officer today? Greetings from the Netherlands. So that would be a euro. My bad. The font is small. Yes, I did. I did see it. And I'm assuming a lot of you probably also see it because it's circulating a lot right now. And thank you so much for your donation. It really means a lot. Thank you. So I'm just trying to show you guys, whenever sanctuary cities say, we don't work with Homeland deportations, here is a case where you actually are seeing some cooperation.
This is not.
Now, I have not seen this. I am going to assume he might say, we do not cooperate in deportation operations. If for some, Portland, almost every single time their reports, they always say that at the very bottom of the reports.
Not any way, shape, or form immigration related on our end.
I told you guys, and I promise on my life, I did not know that was going to happen. I promise I did not know. I was just told this is a press conference from a very trusted source, and I've covered the Portland police for so long. They will write that on police reports that literally have nothing to do with deportations, but they will still say that. So, told you guys.
We do not know the facts of this case. We are simply providing that traditional investigative support and perimeter support, which is minimal. But I do want to make it clear that we are out there, but we are not involved in immigration. And we at this time do not know if this is an immigration-related event. We do not know which federal agencies were involved. As we know, there are many federal agencies serving in the city of Portland right now. So as I said, it's a complex situation with a lot of different information coming out. But Portland Police is on the scene, detectives, etc. I want to say, that I'm saddened that we are here once again in a difficult, challenging, complex situation. But I'm also incredibly grateful for Portlanders. I'm grateful for the way that we have continued to show up over the past year, and we have certainly been tested. And this is no small circumstance. The uncertainty and the fear and the sadness within our community is real. And as the chief law enforcement of the city of Portland, I recognize that. Our members recognize that. And we are doing everything in our power to maintain that level of peace and calm and safety. And I want to.
Now, I just have to point this out. I don't want to keep cutting this off, but for the sake of commentary, and I don't know if you guys caught this as well, what he just said was, we don't know all of the facts, and we don't know exactly who was involved, and we don't know we don't know which agencies were involved as far as does this have to do with illegal immigration. So keep that in mind as we're watching this and we go through with all of the context. This was done before we had all of the information from Homeland Security. And for those of you who are just joining, I already went over that at the beginning of the video. If you want to watch the beginning real quick, bring it forward to here. So I just want to point that out as we go through this.
I thank Portlanders who have continued to show up in this space as well, and hopeful that they will do so over the next couple of days, as I'm expecting many to want to express their frustration and disappointment with events today. As I said, this is early on. We do not know the cause, but we are engaged, and hopefully we'll have more information as the evening unfolds. I'm going to turn it over now to Mayor Wilson.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief. And I just want to also just reiterate what he had talked about the city standing tall and really standing together. And I've been before you already too many times under these circumstances, but I'm grateful that every time I do make the call within such a short period of time that the Madam Governor will answer the call, and all of the individuals standing behind me and all of our elected officials and community leaders are standing with us as well. and we've always stood together, and we will continue to stand together. Just one day after the horrific violence in Minnesota, our community here in Portland was witness to a moment of fear, confusion, and heartbreak.
Interesting.
Earlier this afternoon, 2 people were shot and injured by federal agents in the Hazelwood neighborhood.
And again, for the sake of context, for those of you that are unaware, according to Homeland Security, these were affiliates of Tren de Aragua. That's according to Homeland, just so we have both sides. At the end of the day, it's up to you guys how you feel about it. Just want to give you all the sides here. And according to Homeland, that person used his vehicle as some sort of weapon. And I appreciate you becoming a member. That was Debbie. So thank you, Debbie Gunter. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all your guys' support. And if you want to like, subscribe, notifications on, helps out a ton so you guys don't miss a thing.
Violence in our community is devastating. These are not statistics. These are human beings. Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents. When the administration talks about using full force, we are seeing what it means on our streets. The consequences are not abstract. They are felt in hospital rooms and living rooms, in the quiet moments when families try to make sense of what happened, what is happening. We know what the federal government says happened here. There was a time when we could take them at their word. That time is long past. That is why we are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
And okay, so he is specifically, I don't want to say targeting, but singling out ICE here. But again, this was actually Border Patrol, and I've pointed this out before. You don't hear too much about Border Patrol in Portland, but they are there. And this was a targeted operation according to Homeland. And so when he says specifically, we want ICE out of Portland, again, this is a pretty common generality as far as identifying federal agents. But like, as we know today, Border Patrol works with ICE. ICE works with Border Patrol. Sometimes the FBI is there. In this context, I'm just going to assume he is talking about all deportation elements. I have to assume that because a lot of the times in the language we see in the media, everyone is just called ICE in the context of deportation. So just to clear up some confusion, because this is about Border Patrol, that's what we do here, just try to clear that up.
Our community deserves answers. Our community deserves accountability. And most of all, our community deserves peace. Earlier today, I spoke with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry. We shared not just our concerns, but our grief for the families who are suffering and grief for the recklessness of our federal government. The administration is trying to divide us, to pit communities against one another, to make us fear one another. Portland. This is a moment to hold each other close, to stand together, to remember that our strength has always come from community, compassion, and solidarity. Yesterday, Governor Walz made an appeal to all of us. Today, I want to say clearly that we stand with Minneapolis, we stand with Minnesota, we stand with Chicago, we stand with LA. We stand with every community that is hurting in our nation, every family that is afraid, every person who feels unseen or unheard. ICE agents and their Homeland Security leadership must fully be investigated and held responsible for the violence inflicted on the American people in Minnesota, in Portland, and in all the communities across America.
Okay, so let me know what you guys think about that. Again, if you are just joining, what we do here is we try to look at all of the different perspectives, and this is the reaction to what happened in Portland yesterday, 24 hours ago, involving the Border Patrol and shooting. We're simply just trying to hear out both sides, and again, it's up to you guys to decide how you feel about it. But again, in context, this press conference is before we got all the details.
The Federal Protective
From Homeland side.
Service claims values such as service, integrity, honor, and vigilance. This is the moment to live those values, not behind masks, not through intimidation, but through transparency, accountability, and most of all, humanity. So thank you. I'd like to turn it over to the governor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief Day. Good evening, Oregonians. We are standing here today united as a state, wanting peace and safety in our communities. We are all shaken and outraged by another terrible, unnecessary, violent event instigated by the reckless agenda of the Trump administration.
Okay, so again, I just have to point this out. I mean, we have quite vastly different perspectives as to what happened regarding this. And I think this is why it's very difficult for everybody to figure out what's going on in general with anything. When this story first broke out, I said, I am not going to say anything until we hear what's happening from Homeland, which was hours after the event, because that's the only way you can make a determination. From here, they're just straight up saying this is like a terror event. Homeland is saying we were the ones attacked, and that really leaves the everyday people to try and figure out what's going on.
This time in our own state, in our largest city, coming just one day after the tragedy in Minnesota. While the details of the incident remain limited, one thing is very clear. When a president endorses tearing families apart and attempts to govern through fear and hate rather than shared values, you foster an environment of lawlessness and recklessness. Trust is essential to maintaining community safety and the rule of law. Federal agents at the direction of the Department of Homeland Security are shattering trust.
Wow.
They are hurting people and they are destroying day by day what we hold dear. Our sense of safety and our literal safety are severely undermined by what happened this afternoon in Portland. I'm so thankful that no one died and more people weren't hurt. The Attorney General and other leaders have been clear about our concerns with the excessive use of force by federal agents in Portland. And today's incident only heightens the need for transparency and accountability. Oregonians deserve clear answers. And I am aligned with the mayor. The priority right now is a full, completed investigation, not more detentions. My message to the federal government is this: we demand transparency. We demand your cooperation with Portland Police and the Multnomah County DA.
So I have to stop right here, and I think this is where a lot of us get a little confused. I don't want to speak for everyone, but if you guys are subscribed to my channel, you would know that some of these locations are under states of emergency because of federal activity. And as many of you are also aware, in sanctuary policies, and this is actually a bit of an issue right now in Minneapolis, with sanctuary policies, you have the "we don't work with deportation operations" policy put in place. Unless under extreme circumstances. There are certain circumstances where that does happen, extreme. But like you're hearing, we want to cooperate, we want transparency, but then when you look at the law, that's not like what it says. There's a lack of cooperation. I think you guys know what I'm getting at. And the problem that's happening in Minneapolis right now is that there could be some legal issues because Minneapolis, the police department, wants to get involved with the investigation, but since that was a deportation operation, can they get involved? Because it was a deportation operation and they are a sanctuary city. So I have no idea how this is going to work out, but I am just trying to point out some of these counties in Oregon quite literally are under states of emergency because of federal activity. So I don't know how it works as far as transparency and working together.
Because we need to investigate this incident efficiently and effectively so we can rebuild trust with our nation's government. There are those who want to cause chaos, but Oregonians know how to stand up and speak out peacefully. We must remain united in peaceful opposition to efforts to tear our community apart. We must not turn against each other. We must stand neighbor to neighbor. We must not take the bait. And I want to end by saying I'm grateful to the first responders who have been managing this incident today here in Portland. And I stand and we stand united with Americans across our country and with Minneapolis and Minnesota in light of these very troubling events. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the governor. Thank you so much. Somebody just gifted T-SPLY gift membership, 5 of them. Thank you, Mountain Goddess. Thank you so much for that. Everyone say thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support, and thank you for helping out the other community members. And if you are new here, if you want to subscribe, we do this all the time. We've been covering Portland for a while now, but I do want to be better about giving more perspectives on both sides and doing it live so you guys can be a part of this too. So let's see what happens next.
I'd now like to hand over the podium to Senator Casey Jama, Democratic leader in the Oregon Senate.
And just so you know, we're not going to watch this whole thing, but I do want you to get an idea of what the initial reaction was or the tone, because I don't think anyone up here is going to differ from opinions. I am hoping that we do hear something from the Attorney General, because it is being reported they will be investigating this.
Well, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. My name is Senator Casey Chama. I also serve as the Senate Majority Leader. I live Hazelwood neighborhood. The incident took place not that far where I live in my home. I'm raising my 2 children and live with my wife. I have a few messages, but let me start to say this one first. My prayer is to the families and those who are hurt, and I hope they will recover speedily. As I said, I have been in this country about 28 years and a former refugee. I have never thought I will see this moment in the United States of America. This is a challenging time for us. My colleagues and I are working together to ensure that we address this issue at the state legislative level. We want to do as best as we can to protect the Oregonians who are fearful, who are scared, who are facing persecution under federal law.
Wow. That was, those are already these are a lot of big accusations here too.
So we're going to introduce quite a number of bills that will be, we're trying to minimize the impact of ICE in our community. I'm outraged and angry and frustrated, as many Oregonians are. Let me speak to Oregonians. I share your frustration. And immigrant refugee community, let me talk directly to them. I share your fear. I share your challenges that we're all facing. And I know that the struggle is real. Let me say this to the Oregonians. Oregonians are welcoming. State of Oregon is welcoming state. We want to keep that way. We want to fight for that. We want to work hard for that. And we want to make sure that all Oregonians feel welcome.
Okay, so I just want to fact check something real quick. I know he's speaking to Oregonians, but I just want to fact check something real quick as far as what Homeland Security had to say. I don't know if these people lived here or they were driving by. Homeland says 2 suspected Chenda Aragua gang associates let loose on American streets by Joe Biden weaponized their vehicle against Border Patrol in Portland. The driver of the vehicle, Luis, is a criminal from Venezuela. He entered illegally in 2022. The passenger is also affiliated, but it doesn't say like, yeah, that they live there, but I mean, we can make that assumption. So just trying to give you guys the accuracy of this story as far as like what's going on here for the new people joining.
Let me say to this, to the federal agencies and the ICE, this is Oregon. We do not need you. You're not welcome. And you need to get the hell out of our community. Now I want to turn to the podium to Multnomah County Chair Jessica Figabert Peterson.
All right. And I have actually never heard from him or seen him before when I've covered a lot of these stories. So I don't know if you guys know who that was, but that's the first time I've ever heard from him or seen him. A lot of times with this Portland story, obviously, there's limited down to the city council level and the mayor, and sometimes the governor.
Good evening, everyone. If we were living in anything close to normal times, we would not be here right now. We should not be here right now. We should not.
That is not my phone, by the way. That is them.
Be here right now because federal agents should not be in Portland neighborhoods shooting people. We should not be here right now because Renee Nicole Good should be alive and with her family in Minnesota right now. I want everyone to know that Multnomah County stands united in support of our immigrant and refugee neighbors and everyone opposing this injustice. I am proud to be joined tonight by Commissioner Moyer, Commissioner Edwards, and Commissioner Jones-Dixon. Enough is enough. The terror and violence ICE is causing in our neighborhoods must end now. At this moment, we don't know what precipitated the incident.
And I think that context is very important as we listen to this press conference. Again, for those of you who are just joining, this press conference happened, and you keep hearing, this is like the third time they've said this, we don't know everything that has happened. So I think that's very crucial for the context here.
Circumstances that led to the shooting or the identities of people involved. The FBI will be leading the investigation, and they need to allow local law enforcement to participate, and they need to be transparent and accountable to local governments. We know that this news is incredibly alarming and upsetting. We know what happens today speaks to a fear that we have had since last fall when federal law enforcement and immigration agents first increased their presence in our community. Multnomah County will not stand by as federal governments attack our neighbors. Just this morning, our board unanimously voted to extend an emergency declaration in response to the ongoing harm of ICE activity.
Yeah, and we've been covering that on my channel, not to keep cutting this off, but this is crucial because I don't think people even know this is happening unless you're paying attention. There are counties and areas in Oregon that are declaring, as she just said, states of emergency. But my question, and even a lot of like advocates and protesters are also questioning what exactly does that mean, because we still see like police officers not doing that much or like nothing is happening. So me personally, I also still don't know exactly how this plays out as far as states of emergency. So just so you are aware, this is happening in other portions of Oregon as well.
And we will keep showing up in every way that we can. During our vote, I shared that over the holidays, my office received a string of emails and calls from neighbors in the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood who are asking for help to find 2 neighbors who were kidnapped by federal agents the day after Christmas. Both of these people are the primary breadwinners for their families, and their children attend the local elementary school. As a parent, my heart breaks for their families and the whole community that has been impacted by these cruel actions. Add to this the horrific murder of Renee Nicole Good in Minnesota, the dozens of lives that have been lost in ICE detention this year, and now a shooting here in Portland. And we can only conclude that this federal activity is a threat to our entire community and is a threat that is growing every day.
Wow.
In light of this, our community is calling on us to act, to deploy resources to support the families impacted by federal activity, and to do all that's in our power to ensure the safety of neighbors going forward.
So that is the gist of what this state of emergency can do as far as like, I guess, helping or donating to families. But other than that, I don't know if it has to do with like gathering data or alerts. I don't know anything about that. I haven't seen any of those indications. I don't want to stray you guys in the wrong direction or create implications. But if you want to go do your own research, you can go to the county websites and read the fine print. There are some protesters who are not that happy with what this even is. Like some people want a stronger response, just so you are aware.
That's what the state of Oregon, Portland, and Multnomah County leaders have done and will continue to do as we respond to this crisis. That's what the people of Portland have done, representing the best of Portland to the whole nation as we continue to stand up for injustice. Thank you to all of you who have come out to protest the cruel and authoritarian actions of this administration while representing Portland's values. Keep showing up the way you have been. Keep raising your voices. Keep showing everyone who we are. Our neighbors and the literal crosshairs of this administration need your support now more than ever. Our solidarity is our strength. These are dark times. There's no getting around that. But I know that together we will persevere. Thank you. Okay. And now I would like to turn it over to Portland City Councilor Loretta Smith.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Loretta Smith, and I'm a counselor from District 1. I stand here with my other counselors, Counselor Candace Avalos and Jamie Dunphy. This situation just got real. This is not a PlayStation moment where you can shoot folks and they come back alive again. I live in that district. The struggle is already real for immigrants and refugees who live in our community and our neighborhoods.
As far as statistics goes, just so you guys are aware, even though the number doesn't seem that high, it's in like the 1,034 or 1,300-ish. That's how many deportations came out of Oregon, and although that doesn't seem like a lot, that is still 10 times more than last year. And a lot of these deportation operations actually occurred in these ICE states of alert areas, state of emergency areas. So keep that in mind too.
And now I have to go home and tell my son and my 3 grandkids that they cannot stop for law enforcement because they're going to be afraid.
Wow.
By looking at law enforcement that they might have the same thing happen to them that happened today. That is so unconscionable that just a day later, what happened in Minneapolis happening right here in Portland. This is very personal for me. And people who look like me, they shouldn't be afraid to walk around in their neighborhoods, walking to school in the morning with their kids. They should feel comfortable in their neighborhoods. And now we're disarmed now. We don't know who to trust. But I want to say here, I support the mayor, I support the governor in their efforts to do the things that we need to do to get ICE out of our state, in our city, in our neighborhoods. The harassment, the violence, the unconscionable walking around and infiltrating our communities as if we're some sort of third world country. It's not cool. And it's not something that we should support. I feel good. I feel strong standing next to my elected leaders and my community leaders behind me. We have to do whatever we need to do to make sure that ICE is no more. Thank you.
All right, leave your comments. Let me know what you feel about that. Again, I'm going to assume she means Border Patrol as well because that's who was involved here.
Share updates as soon as possible on the situation in my neighborhood. I think the last thing that I just wanted to share is, as we are horrified and as I continue to mourn and do what I can as a mother to remain calm and provide peaceful support to her, I continue to feel hope with all of the incredible leaders that we have in this state, from our governor all the way down to our school district, to our neighborhood. I know that in Oregon, we are resisting peacefully. We are resisting in the way that we can. And I want to thank everyone here today and the leaders, whether you are a fellow mom in the neighborhood or our...
And while we're here, just so you guys are aware, there is an assumption there's going to probably be some protesting tonight. If you guys care, if you guys want to follow someone like the BC Preacher, I do highly recommend. I was able to talk to him, and he is going to be out there. If you guys want to subscribe or watch him, he'll be live. I'm a big fan of him. He's very fair in his reporting, and yeah, just wanted to shout him out there. And by the way, I am getting this from Kim Katie USA to give her a shout out too.
Our state governor, I'm so appreciative of.
But what this is just an recap overview of what the reaction was before the full announcement. I just thought you guys would find it interesting that this press conference happened before the DHS statement.
All of the support, and know that we continue to resist always and stand with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Valderrama, and to all of our speakers. We have some time for some Q&A right now. I just want to remind everyone, this event happened just a few hours ago. The investigation is just getting off the ground, and nobody in this room is directly involved with that investigation. So please keep that in mind. It would be irresponsible for anyone up here to speculate on what exactly happened.
I mean, I'm a little shocked he just said that. I'm just going to be honest with you. Do I have to replay that?
And nobody in this room is directly involved with that investigation. So please keep that in mind. It would be irresponsible for anyone up here to speculate on what exactly happened. All that said,
I actually agree with him. I don't think anybody else would disagree. I think a lot of us would agree it is a little irresponsible to speculate, which is why last night when I covered this story, we were one of the first ones to cover it. I was like, guys, I'm not even going to say what I think it is. I'm not going to speculate. This is what it is.
We thought it was important to address this incident. With that, we'll take Q&A. Please state your name and who you're with and who the question's for. We'll start with Anna Griffin.
Anna Griffin from the New York Times. Governor, Mayor, and Tutte, what are you actually hearing from the feds right now? Are they communicating with you? Because it seems like we have very little detail locally.
Yeah, shortly after this event occurred, I
Her question was, what have you heard from the feds?
did have a phone call with the Assistant Special Agent in charge here in Portland of the FBI, and we've been in regular communication with them. We, of course, were on scene, as I mentioned, out on 148th and Burnside, and as well as Portland Adventist, where federal officers were. So we quickly had, sergeants on scene to collaborate with their supervisors. So we are in communication as of just before this briefing, knowing that, we're in communication with one another, but it is their primary responsibility, primarily the lead. And so, as Mike already commented, it's really would be speculation much beyond the fact that we are talking to one another in terms of responsibilities, who's doing what, et cetera.
Are you hearing from DHS, Governor?
No, I've not spoken with the federal government at all.
I'm Chief Day Adrian Thomas with KPTV. DHS put out a statement this afternoon on this incident saying that one of the individuals was connected to a previous shooting in Portland. Is that true? And do you have any information on that? And
If you guys didn't hear the question, he said Homeland Security just put out a statement saying one of the individuals has been connected to a shooting. So let's see what they have to say.
what are the conditions of these two individuals right now?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the statement that was put out. I can't comment on whether or not that's the case. We don't know who these individuals are. We have not, they haven't been identified or shared their identification with us. And I don't know this. I don't know the condition of them at this time, just knowing that they were taken to local hospitals.
John Adams from KGW. We saw in the incident in Minnesota that there was surveillance video readily available after the incident. Are you aware of any surveillance video that may have captured this incident?
I'm not aware of any at this time. No, have not seen any.
Either Chief Shane Dixon
That was whether or not there was surveillance footage. I don't know if you guys can hear the questions.
Kavanaugh reported with the Oregonian. Do you know whether or not Train de Aragua is active in Portland?
Do you know whether or not Tren de Aragua is active in Oregon?
I don't have any information that would link that at this time. No.
Yeah, Alex was with OPB. Do you know the nationality of
No, I've heard a lot of different comments. I don't want to comment on that. I can't be specific. I've heard different references, and I might be confusing some of that information. So, no, I don't have that specifically.
KXL in the Oregon Media News Network, Heather Roberts. Is this a normal course of action? Is this standard procedure to have the FBI lead a shooting investigation and law enforcement involved shooting investigation?
Is this a normal course of action to have the FBI lead the investigation?
Inside the city limits?
Yeah, on the federal side it is, yes. And I've been clear since we started down this road, in January of last year, that we've continued to keep open lines of communication with our federal partners, for, unfortunately, even moments like this. But on a local level, we value the ability to be able to pick up the phone, to call one another, to try and figure it out, understanding there's limitations, as we have tried to work through over the last year.
And I would assume those limitations, that would be the sanctuary policies. And again, this is why I have always found sanctuary policies quite interesting, and I've really dug into it. And I respect and understand why people are into this, but at the same time, I don't know how many people realize stuff like this can happen, where you create a policy that has a limitation where you cannot achieve the same goal. Like you just heard it straight from the police chief. We want to communicate, we try to communicate, but there are limitations. And that is due to the policies implemented
And
by the voters.
so we are present in a role that's supportive of trying to make sure that this is done equitably and accurately, safely, but they are the primary lead on it.
Well, Jones with 26 News. The question is, federal
The question was, are you aware of any evidence that the vehicle was used as a weapon against federal agents?
Okay, the question was whether or not there's been any evidence to support a statement that was made that the vehicle was weaponized in this event, correct? Is that the question? And we don't have any information on that. As I mentioned, we responded after the fact to both the shooting scene. Once we were at the shooting scene, the vehicle was already gone, because then 6 or 7 minutes later, we responded to where the victims had called 911. So we don't have any firsthand information.
On the ground, though?
Excuse me?
Were the federal agents involved in the shooting still on the ground when your officers?
Yes, there were federal officers both at the original scene, and then federal officers met us out at the scene farther away. But we don't have any information to confirm or deny, the behavior of the vehicle, the use of the vehicle.
Yeah, I saw a comment from Zombie47014. Thank you for your comment. I am curious whether or not there's going to be body cam footage. That will definitely be rather interesting. You would have to assume there would be body cam footage because these are federal agents, according to the stats, who are receiving a lot of attacks. But we'll see whether or not it comes out.
According to you.
Yes, Katie Vaughn with the Portland Mercury. I know recently federal agencies, DHS, has asked you for investigative files related to arrests. Are you in a position to be able to ask for the same thing of these federal officers? Is the FBI going to keep you apprised? Are you in a position to be able to ask for records related to the investigation the same way they've asked the police bureau?
Well, the question is whether or not we are in a position to ask for records, documentation in a manner similar to how the Department of Justice is asking them of the Portland Police Bureau right now. I think you're referencing our settlement agreement. So it's not quite an apples to apples comparison. There's, a couple of different things there that are nuanced. Certainly there is an opportunity for whether it be the city of Portland or the state of Oregon to make a request for that information. I mean, from a public record standpoint, whether or not, that process will bear any fruit, I don't know.
And I'm assuming the issue is you're technically not allowed to ask if you are an illegal immigrant or your immigration status. Is that what you guys are picking up on as well? Again, this is like their own state policy. So if that's your state policy, are you breaking the policy by extending to the federal government? I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
Oh, but it's different than the conversation we're having around the Department of Justice utilizing or attempting to utilize settlement agreement to retrieve information that we believe they don't need to have access to.
Do you expect the FBI to keep you apprised of the status of the investigation?
Well, this is uncharted territory for us. I'm not exactly sure. Frankly, there's a lot of competing interest, as we know, on the.
Yeah, Stock made a good point. It's not illegal to ask that it's only a policy. Got it.
In this area, I value, like I said, our local partnerships and the communication and transparency that we have shared. But there's also a lot of cooks in the kitchen here with a lot of strong opinions. And all I can say is, in the moment, we have had lines of communication. Whether that will change or not over the course of time, I don't know.
Do you have a sense of how many federal officers were involved in the shooting and maybe how many shots were fired?
No, I don't have the details of that right now.
Anything else?
Question. My name is Ernesto, Chief Executive with Pasadena CDC. Chief Day, what is your assessment regarding the national trend in terms of involving ICE, Border Patrol agents, and so on and so forth? They are always right. So what makes us believe that any investigation that they conduct will be accurate, just, and real? And what is the role of our authorities locally to unravel, to counter? If you're not involved at all, what makes us believe that they are already sacrificing and saying things online and in public outlets that these people were from Tendarawa, that they were from a constitutional range?
Okay, the question is, how do we know that the federal government will be truthful, and how can we possibly verify that?
So I mean, they already made the judgment.
But there's a lot of, he's saying they're already making a judgment.
In Minnesota, you already saw this. They stepped away from involving local police enforcement and kept that investigation with just the FBI, which obviously is going to lean towards benefiting the federal government entirely. I mean, I don't trust the federal government whatsoever. So what?
I can't tell if this is a question because now he's saying I don't trust the feds, and obviously the FBI will lean in favor. So I'm just giving the disclaimer right now if you can't hear what's going on.
what are we doing, to counter that kind of misinformation they provide?
Yeah, and just to summarize, I want to make sure I'm hearing the question correctly, is, what are we doing specifically to challenge or potentially counter the narrative or the description of events or the results of the investigations, et cetera. And this has really been sort of the crux of the conversation over the last year, and it's something that weighs heavily on me as a local law enforcement leader. What is the position not only of myself, but also the Portland Police Bureau in general? We are actively working with as many folks as we can, whether it be our city attorney, the attorney general's office, the governor's office, et cetera, the mayor. We are constantly evaluating what is our role. The challenge I think that many of us are facing, understandably so, is the want for certainty, the want for clarity, and what saddens me in this process is the tearing down of legitimacy around law enforcement, and something that we have worked so hard for in this community. I stood here just a moment ago thinking that this is really an example about how joy and sorrow can coexist at the same time, because this room represents something that's unique in terms of, as a police chief, in terms of the relationship for community. So I hear what you're saying, and to answer your question specifically, at any opportunity that we have that we're able to step in, much like we are doing tonight, we try to take advantage of that, and not take advantage of that in a bad way, take advantage of that in a sense that we want to be available to determine as much information as we can to try and bring legitimacy to the process. But there are, long-standing historical court decisions and authorities granted to the federal government that are certainly being tested over the last year in the area specific of policing. And we rely upon, the counsel of, others, attorneys, and the rulings from judges. We saw this in the court case that we had with the National Guard. You had 3 Portland police commanders testify. We were the only ones who testified on behalf of the city of Portland. It was 3 Portland police leaders over the course of 2 days, which the judge agreed with, to prevent the National Guard from being deployed in Portland. And that was based upon the work we had been doing in terms of gathering information, staying true to the rule of law, being factual in our reporting.
Okay, so I will, again, I just wanted to show you guys, this was the perspective of the local leaders, state leaders, and the governor. This was sourced from Kim Katie USA. If you guys want to go give her a follow, go support Kim Katie USA. And if you guys are interested what's going to happen tonight, again, I got to give a shout out to the BC Preacher. If you guys want to save that name, go subscribe. He said he will be going live tonight to sort of continue this coverage. But we're also being reported, it's also being reported again, the Attorney General of Oregon. We are opening a formal investigation into the shooting involved federal agents in Portland. So it looks like there will be this counter, if you will, or the opposite perspective of reporting from the state side. So I will be paying attention to that. I am very curious what's going to happen with that. So yeah, okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. And this was the reaction. Yeah. Now, as far as the post reaction, not as many reactions. I'm going to be honest with you. That's going to sort of dictate what happens tonight, or we'll see what happens tonight as far as protesters. Maybe they'll say something, or advocates, how they feel about the suspected Trenda Aragua affiliation. But I haven't seen anything from the mayor as far as like his reaction to the affiliation here. So I will do my best to keep track with that. There's a lot going on in Minneapolis right now. A lot of the story is sort of overlapping. And if you guys are unaware, another really big investigation is happening into ICE Watch, or Legal Observers. The Trump administration made an announcement. They're going to make an effort to be looking into these organizations. So I will definitely be paying attention to that as well. And if you're interested in that, make sure to please subscribe, turn on your notifications. I will be keeping you up to date with any new findings as well. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a very simple video, but I really appreciate all of your interaction. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I hope you guys stay safe. Please pray for peace. We always advocate for peace on my channel. We always try to be as fair as possible, regardless of the circumstances. So I thank you guys again for everything. I appreciate it. God bless, and we'll see you all later. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you.